Shocking report just weeks after Renee Nicole Good's death in Minnesota. And I want to show it to you. It is from a Minnesota news organization. It says ICE agents are trained in CPR. They didn't use it on Renee Nicole Good. I guess that's her maiden name or her former married name. But then it goes on to say an analysis of videos, 9/11 calls, fire department records, and dispatch logs conducted by MPR News and APM reports raises questions about whether the federal agency that mortally wounded Renee Nicole Good did enough to try to save her life. And here's what it says. It took more than 10 minutes after Nicole Good was shot by a federal immigration officer before someone gave her CPR. Immigrations and customs enforcement agents are trained in basic CPR, a series of life-saving techniques that can keep blood flowing to vital organs, but they did not perform it on Nicole Good as she was shot by ICE officer Jonathan Ross on January 7th. Also, what they did not do is let a physician who was on the scene go to try to render aid. This is what happened in real time. Watch.
Can I go check a pulse?
No! Back up! Now!
I'm a physician!
Hey, listen,
care.
we understand. We got EMS coming. I get it. Just give us a second. We have medics on scene. We have our own medics.
Where are they? Where are they? How can I relax? You just killed my fucking neighbor. You caught butter in the fucking face. You killed my fucking neighbor. How do you show up to work every day? How the fuck do you do this every day? You're killing my neighbors. You're stealing my neighbors. What the fuck, man?
Hey, listen, strong language there, but you can imagine how upset people are and having just witnessed it and then not allowing someone to go over and render aid. I want to bring in Dr. Frita now. She's a triple board certified nephrologist and a medical expert in internal medicine, pediatrics, and obesity medicine. She does a live stream on her YouTube channel every Monday at noon Eastern time on trending medical topics in the headlines and celebrity health. Thank you for joining us, Doctor. I appreciate it. You can understand the sentiment there. Say again?
I said, it was my pleasure to be here, but this sickens me. Yeah.
How so?
It is everyone's goal to preserve life, especially physicians. And so when I hear that physician saying, can I check a pulse? I know that he fully understands that even for those of us who are in the medical field, we rely on bystanders to start CPR, to stop bleeding, because the majority of people who experience trauma die from bleeding out. And you can bleed out in 3 to 5 minutes, meaning you can literally bleed to death. But most of the times, EMS, the ambulance, they don't get there for another 7 to 10 minutes. And so those first minutes are crucial. And so I know that the physician's heart must have just stopped when he heard that ICE agent say, oh, we've got people on the way. Because even if you're not a physician, it's important to go, assess a patient, see if they have a pulse, stop the bleeding, tie a tourniquet, administer CPR. Every minute counts, because in the case of cardiac arrest, for example, for every minute that a person goes without CPR, the mortality increases by 10%.
Wow.
So by 10 minutes, goodbye. And after 4 minutes of no CPR and without the proper brain flow, but blood flow to the brain, after 4 minutes, then brain cells die. And so those first minutes are absolutely critical and can be the difference between life and death. And so now to learn that Renee Good actually had a pulse 8 minutes after she was shot, that means that different factors could have been on her side. One, she's young, in her 30s, and it was cold, which would have slowed how fast her heart was beating, was pumping out blood. And it just lets us know as physicians that there's a possibility that she could have lived. And denied her care. And they didn't administer care. Yeah.
You're not the only physician saying that. There was a physician, I just want to show you, because she's saying similar things to what you're saying, doctor. And she was on with my friend Ali Velshi on MS Now. Watch.
Okay.
All of us physicians have been in situations where we've been on the street and on a plane, wherever, and a medical emergency has arisen. And it is our duty to render care. And so it is not unusual for physicians who are bystanders to help stabilize the situation until medics, until an ambulance, until EMTs and paramedics arrive. So to watch that again, I've seen that video so many times, Allie, and I think it only gets more horrifying, particularly now that we have the information that Renee Good was still alive. There is a chance that her life could have been saved, and the indifference to her life, the cruelty of those officers, it's mind-boggling to me.
What should they have done in that situation?
Well, they should have administered CPR themselves. But
And
if
what about the
they,
physician that was there? Okay, yeah, go on. Sorry.
the physician who was there, if he's being told by people who are holding guns who just executed someone, if he's being told by them not to go near, then he has to preserve his own life, because he doesn't know if they're so out of control that they would have taken his life. I mean, it's not unreasonable for him to think that if they told him no, and if he defied them to go save her life, that would have been 2 lives gone, and that does no one any good. So ordinarily, I would say, oh, the physician should have gone in there anyway, but it was too heightened. But had they allowed the physician to go, then what he would have done was, like he said, he would have assessed for a pulse. And now that we know that Renee Good had a pulse 8 minutes after being shot, surely she had a pulse right after being shot. And so the first thing he would have done would have tried to see if she had an airway, and then he would have looked at where those gunshot wounds were. And it's my understanding that she had like a gunshot wound in the chest, some gunshot wounds to the chest and the arms. I'm not exactly sure how many, but he would have gotten some towels, some shirts, some jackets, and he would have held pressure. He would have applied pressure to stop the bleed. And if say she had a gunshot wound in the arm, he would have applied a tourniquet above where she was bleeding, and tried to stop that blood from being lost. Because we only have 5 liters of blood, the average adult, and it doesn't take long for you to pump all of that blood out of
Yeah.
wounds. So he would have tried to stop her from bleeding. And also, if it had been indicated, if her airway had been compromised, he would have tried his best to figure that out, to see if he needed to actually, do CPR, if he needed to actually, give her breaths. But as a physician, he would have known ABCs: airway, breathing, circulation. It's like
Mm,
clockwork, Don. From the time we
mm.
first go to medical school through residency, it's like clockwork. You go into a mode and you know what to do in an immediate situation. And I can only imagine how that physician felt. And it's interesting, for the young lady physician you just played, I had not heard what she said, but it sounds like what we said was almost identical. It's
Almost
just,
identical. And I've been on the plane. Who hasn't been on the plane at one time when they say, "Is there a doctor on board?" And you're like, "Uh-oh," right? And they used to, I got to tell you something. They used to think that I was a doctor because my initials are DR, and they would say Dr. Lemon, and I'm like, "I'm not a doctor. That's just my initials." Yeah,
oh
and
my
that
gosh.
so I had to change that on my Delta profile because they would often think that I'm a doctor on board. Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
Yes. I've been
So
quick to volunteer many times when they say, is there a doctor? And, at games, at restaurants. And it's so funny living in the America we live in. Sometimes there are non-doctors who are there who just maybe will look at me and assume that they know more than I. And I just have to tell them very quickly, I'm a physician. Please move,
yeah.
soccer dad, get out of the way. But
Let
yeah,
me Let me ask you then, could they is there anything into the possibility that they're trying to preserve evidence? I think a life would come first, or if they are concerned about their tactics and they're trying to cover up?
a life comes first. A life
Mm,
comes first, because if they truly cared about Renee Good, if they looked at her with any type of humanity, then number one, they wouldn't have been cursing her name and calling her an effing B after shooting her. But the first thing they would have felt was remorse, almost like, oh gosh, I've done everything I could not to have to shoot. Unfortunately, I've had to shoot and I could have taken her life. Okay, now definitely there's no danger. Let everyone help her. That's what a humane person would do. And so I don't
mm.
think they were trying to preserve evidence. I think that the same as if you're someone who's hunting and you shoot a deer or a bear, you leave them there as roadkill because you really don't care. And that's what I
Oof.
feel. They had no humanity.
Well, there is a state senator, and his name is Matt Klein. I believe he is a physician, and he was surrounded by physicians, and there are many people who are demanding an investigation. I want you to hear what he has to say, and then I'll get your response. Here it is.
This morning, I learned for the first time through an NPR story that Renee Good still had a pulse 8 minutes after she was shot. by an ICE agent. And yet, the offer to administer aid from a physician on the scene following his Hippocratic oath was denied. I can't say how much that stirs the blood of everyone behind me here as we try to fulfill our obligation, our oath, and our duty to care for the people in Minnesota. And I believe it stirs the blood of every patriotic Minnesota who knows how we treat each other in this state.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? And why are they refusing to investigate?
They're refusing to investigate, in my humble opinion, because if they know that if there is a full, unbiased, clear investigation, then it sounds like the ICE agents will be found culpable for many things. Never mind the legalities of whether or not they should have shot her, but if we just isolate it to the medical, to the health incidents, the very fact that they did not administer CPR and that they did not allow a physician bystander, that is criminal, in my opinion. And and we see the evidence, right? We have the video, we know. And so what is it called when someone's life is in danger? You have the opportunity to potentially save it. You are a professional and you don't save it. It's almost intentional, doesn't it seem? But yeah, an investigation, a properly done investigation would not turn out well for them.
Yeah. And that's what should happen next. I'm sure you'll agree. There should be a properly done investigation. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Dr. Frita, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Check out the Dr. Frita Show on YouTube. Very popular. And we appreciate you. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a show. We're live every weekday at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time with new clips dropping at 2 p. and 8 p. And if you want even more Don Lemon Show content, join the Lemon community. Members get exclusive posts, behind-the-scenes videos, and live chats just for you. So hit the join button or visit our channel page to sign up. Thanks again for all your love and your support, and I'll see you next time.